Carlos Gomez is the president and CEO of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Greater Kansas City. Carlos was recently recognized as one of the top 50 most powerful people in Kansas City. His work revolves around empowering small business owners for success and building relationships to benefit the Kansas City area as a whole. Carlos's work over the last 16 plus years has helped position Kansas City for even greater success. Get hyped, KC. This is Enterrupt KC. Enjoy this episode.
Welcome to Enterrupt KC, the podcast about people, places, and things of Kansas City.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is, I'm D-Rod. This is my man, JL.
Thank you, D-Rod. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
How you been, man?
Man, I've been good, man. I've been real good, man. Yeah. Excited about doing this, man. What you think? What about this thing we got going on here?
You know what? Today has probably been the buildup of many, many things. I feel like, we started talking about this a long time ago, and we're here, man. And one thing that I'm excited about, all the work, all the learning,
man, the learning is crazy. Yeah.
So appreciative of everybody for the support. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I'm a lot of things.
I'm nervous, anxious, and everything else as well, man. I just, the what we got planned, and our big picture of what we're doing here to show what the city we love, man.
That's right.
Kansas City and the
baby.
people in it, man, and more importantly, what they contribute.
That's right.
What about this cold weather, man, we've been dealing with, man? How you been dealing with that, man? It's been kind of crazy.
It's not treated me well. It's made me feel every year of my age, unfortunately.
Man, it's pretty cold, man.
Yeah. But to no further ado, I think it's time to interrupt our guest today.
Man, let's do it, man. We got a great one here today, people.
And by interrupt, I mean introduce.
Let's introduce him,
So
man.
we are going to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only,
yes.
Carlos Gomez.
Mr. Carlos Gomez, welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you. How y'all doing?
Man, we're doing great, man. How you doing?
Oh, you know what? Keeping busy.
Yeah.
New year.
You don't say.
Got to start out strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how we starting that new year off strong, man? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Really trying to be more intentional with some initiatives and planning.
Yeah.
And starting right off the bat, making sure that we're having those conversations.
That's right.
With the entities that we need to make that change.
Yeah. What changes are you looking for, man? I mean, you're the president, right?
Yes.
Well, let's say what it is that you're involved with. You are the president, CEO
Yep.
of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. We cover the whole city, so we cover about 9 counties that make up the 6 that make up the metro, and there's some on the Kansas side that we extend into
Nice.
that have organically grown.
Oh, yeah.
Because we really just focus on the 6, but people have been gravitating, so that's good. Organic growth is always great.
It is.
But we're here. We're here to help the Latino community start up. We're here to help their businesses. We're here to help them grow their businesses, build capacity, and get contracts.
Right.
And it's what I love about this job, and the most challenging thing about this job is that there's no book to it. You never know what the day's going to bring.
Yeah.
There's always a new opportunity, a new issue, a new barrier.
Yeah,
And
a new challenge, something you might have to overcome.
It is, and it's to help our community get past that.
Right.
And we may have a small business owner that has a positive opportunity, but they need assistance, and it may be new to us as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, hold on, let's figure this out.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of hit on this, man, but I'm curious, your specific role at the chamber, what are those, challenges you see? Because I see you, man, you seems like you're pulled in every direction, right? So that's obviously a challenge, right?
It is.
And then you talked about priorities. So, I mean, I guess intentionally, what are you focused on exactly?
Well, the thing that I am focused on and my team is focused on is small business.
Okay.
We have so many different types of members, and we have non-members that want to partner with us,
Yeah.
or there's a need in the community. So first of all, if there's not a business frame to it, we usually don't get involved. It has to be, our mission is to help the Hispanic small business community.
Okay.
So a lot of times people try and pull us intentionally, unintentionally into other issues. But if we can't directly relate it to business, we usually don't get involved.
Yeah. Do a lot of people take like offense to that sometimes, and they kind of get sideways with you?
Some do.
Hey, calm down.
Some do,
right.
but we can't be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
There's other organizations that's their lane.
Yeah, there's a lot, right?
There is. So, what is our lane? And it's very easy to get pulled.
Yeah.
And then you get sidetracked, and you get away from what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, how do we help the Hispanic small business community? That's first and foremost our priority.
Right.
That's the majority of our membership.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we have corporate America, who funds us, and they have their expectations of what they want from the chamber. And what we tell corporate America is, it's in your best interest that we help the small business owner.
Yeah.
And instead of focusing on you, because that means the more small businesses we help be successful and start up and grow, the better off they're going to be.
Absolutely, man. So I'm curious, when you talk about your role in, you say yes to a lot of things, I imagine.
Yeah, I have a hard time saying no.
I was picking that up. I mean, to the extent.
Don't put that out there.
To the extent.
We'll have to cut that out.
Yeah, to the extent that, when I reached out to Carlos, I reached out to you probably a couple months ago, and I was like, hey, man, I'm gonna do this podcast. I'd love to have you as a guest. And he responded right away, love to do it, type of thing.
Yeah, see?
And I guess my question would be, what do you say no to the most?
Well, I'll be honest with you. And my board sometimes get mad at me. I don't say no. So although the chamber may not get involved, the chamber may mentor someone.
Yeah.
Or I meant that to how to get, if it's not related to our mission. And so there's a lot of issues that we had I don't want to get too specific, but we had someone that needed to raise some money for a good cause. Wasn't business related. And so, okay, hey, let's spend a couple hours together and we'll teach you how to
raise our money.
Yeah, put a plan together. Get a plan, and kind of coach them.
Right.
There's a lot of issues that people that come to us with issues, and we're gonna do our best to, if we can't help them, lead them to someone who can. So a lot of times it's being a connector.
Right.
And so, hey, that's not our lane, but let me introduce you to this person or this organization, because we know they can help you. Yeah. And so, but that takes away time.
Yeah.
That does, man. I was going to say on that note too, having a wide array of people trying to contact you over and over and over again, and then some, I'm sure they probably get like, man, Carlos ain't calling me back, but I'm sure it's not intentional by no means, man.
No, but very true.
yeah, man. Yeah, that's great, man.
So what Carlos, let's talk about the chamber specifically. How you said you have a board?
Yes.
How many board members are there?
There's 24.
24.
Yes.
That's a lot of.
That's a big board.
That's a big board.
Yes.
That's a lot of people asking.
The one thing, in my other life, the thing I do as a career, the one thing I've gotten to do is get a little familiar with boards and presidents of chambers and things like that. I think the unique thing about the KC Hispanic Chamber is you guys actually straddle both sides of the state line.
We do.
And most chambers, by definition, are focused on their square miles in their
area,
city,
their
right?
area
Correct.
only, right?
So, I think that's one thing to point out, probably a big reason why the board is so big.
Yeah, and other than the greater KC chamber, we're and some of the other diverse chambers, most chambers are in their school. That's what they focus on. So the challenge is, we may have someone with in an industry that has a problem on the Kansas side, and someone on the Missouri side that has the same problem in the same industry,
right?
But the solution may be different
because of regulations with states, right?
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, and not only by state but by county,
right?
And by city, by city code and county code. So helping a business in Johnson County is very different than helping a business in Clay County.
Right.
and vice versa. And so yeah, it's and as much as it is challenging, that's also what makes the job interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell when someone comes in with, especially with a problem, and I said, please don't take offense to this, but I see this like a game, you know, but it's their life. It's not a game, right?
Yeah.
But I want to win.
Yeah.
I want to win, and I want to get you past that game. I want you to get you to the finish line. So how do we win?
Right.
And so you look at the
Big picture of it.
Yes, and what you look at what relationships. And that's the other thing. We have to have relationships with influencers in every county and on both state lines. We have to have relationships with council people, county elected officials, state legislators, national senators, congresswomen, men and women. Because a lot of times they're the help to that solution.
Right.
Yeah.
By policies and things that they set in place.
Yes, or they chair the committee that it's in front of, and we got to be bipartisan. We have to have relationships on both sides of the aisle.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of luncheons, a lot of dinners, a lot of everything you go to, man, and try to be friends with everybody, man.
Well, and with that being said, you have a lot of people that will want to have those with us.
Yeah.
And you got to ask, what is their motive?
Right.
Is it a sincere motive to help the community?
Yeah.
Or is it one for personal gain?
Right.
And from a small business standpoint, one time I had a person, and they go, "Oh, Carlos, that person, all they want to do is make money." I go, "Well, that's what we're here for."
Yeah.
So for a small business, there's nothing wrong with growing your business and making money, but as long as it's not at the expense of others, like it's a fair process to get that contract, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people want to be like the only bidder. No, you know what? It has to be a fair process, and if it's that way, hey, let's celebrate who gets it.
Right. With that being said, just the what you said about businesses, man, the growth, I'll say in the last 5, 10 to 10 years have been tremendous with the businesses opening up. And so I'm sure that's just rolling you down and up the hill with everything of trying to get it going.
It's nonstop.
Yeah,
and
the growth,
And then you throw in our culture into it.
Yes.
And I can't complain because I'm one of these people that do things at the last minute. I'll get a call and it's like, okay, we want to do a ribbon cutting, or when is it? Tomorrow. It's like tomorrow. You're calling me now.
Yeah.
But I can't complain about that because that could be me.
So, Carlos, how many members of the chamber are there?
We're right a little over 400.
Wow.
However, we help non-members. So here's the difference. We do receive funding from entities that it can't just be members only. And so recently, this will be publicly announced first with you guys. We received a 4-year grant through the United States Hispanic Chamber from the Department of Commerce. So the Hispanic Chamber of Greater Kansas City, we will be the Midwest Minority Business Development Center for the next 4 years. So if you are a minority in the Midwest and you need assistance, you can come to us via in person or via Zoom, and we're getting extra funding to hire more staff.
And how? Well, since you said that, how is that they can get a hold of you? The website?
To the website, calling us, and then we'll by the end of this quarter, we'll be on the United States Department of Commerce website in D.C. That if you're looking for assistance, if you're a minority and you need business assistance in the Midwest, it'll be Kansas City Hispanic Chamber.
Wow.
Man, that's
I mean,
awesome.
we got to stop and clap,
Man, I want to
snap, or we have to do.
If I had a shot at tequila, man, we'd do some tequila right now, man. Salute to that, man. Salute
to that, man.
Well, also, what I wanted to ask you was the history, man. The history of the chamber.
Yes.
When did it get started and all that? How can?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We're like the 9th, 10th oldest Hispanic chamber in the country out of 300 plus.
300.
Yes, and so we were founded in 1977 by Hector Barreto Sr.
Okay.
And people from Independence, Sugar Creek may know him.
Yeah.
There's actually he has a street named after him in Sugar Creek, Missouri, and called Barreto Lane.
Oh, okay.
And so Mr. Barreto came to this country from Guadalajara, Mexico. as a migrant crop picker, and he picked potatoes in Independence, Missouri, or outside of Independence, for 80 cents an hour.
Wow.
And he met his future wife here, who was Mexican American, and they got married, started a family, and they opened up a Mexican restaurant on Southwest Boulevard. And
You know the name of that place?
you know what? I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe it was called Casablanca.
Okay. Was that the place that was right next door to where La Fonda is now?
Where it was is where Taqueria Mexico '1 is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And
I
so
think I remember that place.
So they
man.
opened up in the 70s, and so later on, Mr. Barreto opened up a construction company. Then he opened up an international trading business company, and then affirmative action passes in the 70s. He may have started in the 60s, but affirmative action passes, and him and other Hispanic business leaders fought for, a lot of people don't understand the terminology of Hispanics,
Yeah.
where it came from, but it's a government term.
Label.
Yes. Some people don't like it.
Yeah.
Some people do. It is the number one word that our community identifies with. Overwhelmingly, Hispanics is number one. Wow. Latino is number two. And it's like by 15 to 20 points by most polls. But some people don't like it. But here's the people that don't like it, what they don't understand, if that word was not created, we would have been left out of
makes sense.
of hiring, because we're not a race. We're an we're an ethnicity.
Yeah.
So we would have been left out of fair housing practices, fair hiring, and government contracts, because prior to that we were considered Caucasian.
Yeah.
And my father's a Korean War veteran. He just turned 93 last year,
Man,
and I'm
that's
very
great.
fortunate that I still have him around. And he, his military card says Caucasian, because there was no word for us.
Yeah, there was no word to identify.
You're right.
That what we know now today is the Hispanic culture, the Hispanic ethnicities.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, I actually remember that when I was a kid filling out an application, there wasn't no Hispanic on there.
There wasn't.
That word was not, or anything like that.
And so Hispanic leaders around the country during the passing of affirmative action had to fight, because we would have been left out of all these opportunities because we were considered white.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Barreto was a part of that national movement to be counted, primarily for contracts for the business community. So a lot of history with Kansas City Hispanic Chamber. So in 1977, he starts us. 2 years later, he founds the United States Hispanic Chamber.
Wow.
That's now in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And the United States Hispanic Chamber was here for 10 years, from 79 to 89. That's the umbrella for all the Hispanic chambers in the country. Wow. So there's a lot of rich history that Kansas City continues to tout.
Is there any type of monument with him anywhere?
There's, other than the street named after him in Sugar Creek, Missouri, there is not.
Man, we probably should look into it.
Yeah.
Get something started there, man. I mean,
Get like a day off of work.
I know. For real, man. September 15th, man. Whatever it lands on, man.
I mean, shout out to the Barreto family. Are any of his
Family?
children, grandchildren involved?
Some no, they're not, and then they all have their other
Life.
their other lives. But thanks to Mr. Barreto, and there was 24 other Hispanic businessmen and women.
Okay.
Thanks to them, they created the vehicle. So it was very, very easy for others like me
To follow it on through.
because it was already, the vehicle was built.
Yeah.
We, when I first started this job in 2007, I would go to these national conventions, and other chambers would say, "Oh, you're from Kansas City?" They go, "Your founders helped us start our chamber," which made sense. It made sense because if we were one of the oldest chambers, it would make sense that you would reach out to an existing one to say, "Can you help us?"
Right.
So what me and my right hand at the time, Gabe Munoz, who is doing great things over with the toolbox.
Shout out Gabe.
Yeah. I said, "Gabe, we got to do more. Everywhere we go, people come up to us and say, 'Your founders helped us start our chamber.'" So what Gabe and I started to do is consult Hispanic chambers for free, like our founders did. in the spirit of our founders. And we've been doing that for 14, 15 years now.
Wow.
And we've consulted the Palm Beach County Hispanic Chamber, the New York State Hispanic Chamber, the Maryland Hispanic Chamber, the Tulsa Hispanic Chamber. The list goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And sometimes people say, Carlos, why are you guys doing that for free? You could be charging for that. You know, our founders didn't do that. And, you know, I'm a firm believer, and I think our founders set that precedent.
Right.
When you give, you receive.
Yeah, for sure.
And let me tell you what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
By doing this for free, we get to meet who's on their board.
Okay.
Well, guess who's on their board? The biggest and largest and most influential Latinos and African Americans, and in supplier diversity, in diversity, equity, and inclusion, in human resources. And now we can bring those connections back to our members back home.
Yeah.
And so the head of supplier diversity, he just retired 2 years ago, of Johnson & Johnson, was Latino. His name was Ruben Tarboda. He became a personal friend of mine. How did I meet him? Through consulting the New York Hispanic Chamber. And so, again, when you give, you receive. And so we gave, and we continue to give with expecting nothing in return.
Yeah.
And
that's a great feeling, man. That's a great feeling to do that. I mean, I mean, a lot of people, I think, should listen. What you say, man? I mean, unfortunately, man, this time that we live in, it seems like a lot of people always want to take, you know, and don't have that mind thought. You know?
I was curious, Carlos. How many employees are there? I mean, you're the president, obviously.
Yes.
I mean, how many employees do you have?
We now have 4, but we'll be adding another full-timer here real soon.
Is it 4 including you?
Yeah.
So you have 400 members.
We're stretched.
So you get 100. You get 100. Everybody gets 100 members.
Now, Carlos gets 50. Everybody else.
Well, Carlos gets all 400. I'm sure. You know.
At some time or another.
That's incredible, man. I mean, as somebody who has dabbled into that space of understanding, you know, kind of that personnel, you know, analytics. You know, how many people do you need to accomplish something? That's a tremendous success, I would say, that you guys function for 400 members.
Yeah, and I'm sure every single one of them has a certain thing, if not the same thing they all do, but different ways, right?
Well, let's just say this is not a 9-to-5 job.
No, man, no.
And it's a good thing I'm single, because I'd be divorced.
I'm sure it's real demanding, man. I'm sure it's real demanding.
It's very. The phone calls don't stop at 5.
Yeah.
And they come on weekends too, and some as early as 4:35 in the morning, and some as late as 1 and 2 in the morning.
Oh, look, I put my phone on sleep mode.
Sleep? Do you sleep like between phone calls? Or?
Well, I'm not saying I answer those calls, but
yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I put that on snooze, man.
But you're more likely to get a hold of me at 1 and 2 in the morning than you are at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I feel that.
So let's go back to your role, Carlos, real quick. I'm curious, man, with everything you do, the things you're involved in, what do you find like, this is my happiest space in my role? This is where I'm the most satisfied doing this.
When I can help a small business get from A to B, whether it's a contract, whether it's that we made the introduction to, or whether it's helping a member or non-member get through a problem, that we resolved it in the way that they wanted.
Right.
That's where I get my high.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest with you. It's just like, yes, it's like, you know, there's the game. Yes, we did it.
Yeah.
And last October, I got a text first, and then he called me up, and it was a member that we helped him start his LLC. He was literally sitting in our office saying, I want to start a construction company. And we helped him with his paperwork. And then a few years later, we helped him got certified. Then we helped him get in the federal contracting 8A program. And he texted me an article about him, his company. And then he called me immediately to say, I just want to thank you and your team. The article was that he was just awarded his 3,000th contract.
Wow.
And it was in the DeSoto, Kansas, at the the battery plant,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Panasonic battery
Yeah,
plant
yeah.
for Tesla.
Wow.
And he, the fact that he took the time
Yeah.
to say, hey, you guys were very important
Yeah.
in my evolution of not only starting my business, but growing it.
Yeah.
That meant a lot.
Yeah.
That made my day, made my week, you know.
Man, I could imagine. And I'm sure you have like plenty of stories like that, right? Where you guys have helped somebody, right?
We do, and sometimes, it's not the answer that people get to when they have an issue sometimes, but usually that business appreciates that we help them get an answer.
Right.
We had one member also in construction, and it was a huge issue over a big amount over a contract. And it was at the national level. And we, when he came to me, I was even thinking to myself, see, because people come to us and me expecting that I have a magic wand and that I have all the answers. I don't, you know. But if they come to us with a problem, they're already nervous and anxious and not sleeping, maybe not eating because if it's a big problem. I can't be like nervous with them. I need to calm them down. And but when this member came to me with this problem, I was thinking, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? Because I don't know what to do, but I can't relay that. And I just said, you know what? I'm honest, saying that, hey, look, I've never had this issue before, but we're going to overturn every stone. We're going to call every person, and let's work on this. And you know what? We did it. And we got him an answer. It wasn't the answer he wanted, but he called me back up and he said, and we had to fight. We were fighting alongside with him. And it wasn't positive for him. But he called me up and said, you know what? I want to thank you because I wasn't getting any answer. And you got in there, and we called senators, we called Congress, we were calling, why is this happening? This isn't right. This isn't this, but he goes, at least I got an answer. He most business people understand it's not always going to come their way. But we at least had to fight for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think also just with the Hispanics that you deal with, man, the sense of pride that we have culturally, man, is that everybody that comes to you, there's a reason why they come for help, and they believe in you, and even more so, like you said, you try and you do everything you can to help everybody,
right?
So that pride, man, that we all have, and I think it's everybody for the most part,
It is, and I think it's in our culture sometimes not to ask for help. And so it's hard, you got to really trust, to put your cards on the table, and it's not easy, and we understand that, and we're a cheerleader for business owners. We have some business owners that call, hey, I just need to vent. I know you can't even help me with this, but I just need to vent because if I get it off my chest, I know I'll think clear, and let's go.
I got a shoulder for you. I got an ear for you, man. Let's hear it, man. We'll both yell about it together.
One of the things I'm kind of hearing you say, Carlos, as much time and effort, energy, passion that you give, your members and others, right, non-members, there's probably a lot of return they're giving the chamber back. But I would also say to Kansas City, right? What is that? I'm curious. Do you know the economic impact that Hispanics, Latinos have in Kansas City?
I don't have the exact, but I can tell you national numbers.
Okay.
And this is one of the most impressive numbers. So with those numbers, you have to get a local drill down, and a lot of the information isn't there.
Sure.
Because it takes money to do those research, or a university or a foundation. And we're so busy helping businesses, we don't have time to do the research. But this is the most impressive. In the last decade in the United States, Hispanic businesses grew at a 44% rate. In the last decade, non-Hispanic grew at 4%.
Wow.
What does that tell you?
Man.
Now, when it comes down to the local level, pre-COVID, and these are the Small Business Administration numbers, in 2017, 18, and 19. In Missouri, Hispanic business growth grew at 46%, so higher than the 44. In Kansas, Hispanic business growth grew at 76%,
That's awesome.
which is, and you see it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You see it in Johnson County where people don't expect to see it.
Yeah, man.
You know, people expect to see it in Wyandotte, which is there.
Right.
But you go in Johnson County and you'll see some shopping centers, and they're all Latino businesses.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's just.
I read somewhere that the majority of that is even Latino women that have a.
You're right. If you are Latina, you are 5 times in the United States between the age of 21 and 45. You are 5 times as likely to open up a business than any demographic.
Yeah.
And so Latinas are really the new American business owner.
So get out there, all you women, man. Get out there.
Man, get out
Hey,
there,
let's
Latino.
let's get them numbers going.
Good opportunity.
Latina power,
Come
right?
on, Vamos mujeres.
I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
I'm all for it too, man. For sure.
So the I guess one of the things you were talking about with your members is, you know, the economic impact we were talking about nationally, right? But one of the things I've kind of understood is the population growth almost matches, maybe not 77%, but it matches the economic impact percentage difference that you're talking about. And I'll be specific about what I'm saying. Mid-America Regional Council, they track Kansas City's kind of population growth and, you know, all those numbers, right? And I was kind of dabbling into this several months ago, just curious, you know, what does this look like in Kansas City? And I believe the Hispanic Latino population in Kansas City has outgrown every other demographic. Some of them have even gone down
Yes.
quite a bit, but the Hispanic population in Kansas City has just continued to rise.
Yes.
I mean, is that something that you guys talk about quite a bit as well?
Definitely. And again, there's many hats to the chamber. Although we're here to help, we help small businesses and we help corporate America connect to those small businesses, and we help nonprofits connect to the Latino community. We get those numbers all impact all of that.
Right.
And what we're seeing is not only have we seen an increase in immigration from Latin America to the United States, as we're seeing on the news every day.
Yeah.
But now the births is the next wave of growth. We Hispanics, we have more kids than non-Hispanics, and you don't have to look very far. I don't care what part of the metro you're in. If you look closely, and I tell people, look at the school districts.
Yeah.
If you look at the school districts, anywhere in the metro, the further you go down, as you get down to 5th grade, you know, 3rd grade, and you go down to kindergarten, you're going to see a higher percent of Latinos as you go down. Which what does that mean? That's the future worker, the future business owner, the future CEO, the future
community leader,
the future elected official.
Right.
A future Carlos Gomez. For real, you know.
Well, and so it's really, I always tell people, look at all the school districts will tell you their population of Hispanics is up.
Yeah.
The only group that's maybe beating us, but it's percent-wise, is Asian. But it's easier to move the needle because there's not as many Asians in the metro as there are Hispanics.
Sure.
So, but number-wise, Hispanics are the growth of not only Kansas City but of America.
Yeah. So that's a good segue, man. You're talking about, you know, the student population and things like that. I want to talk about young Carlos for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get to young
How
Carlos.
young?
Yeah. Oh, let's get to maybe, I don't know, like maybe 13, 15, somewhere where you
curious,
started getting.
Well, and, you know, to me, it's like, you know, maybe for those people that don't know you, man, like, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Most people know because I let people know.
Yeah.
I am from Topeka, Kansas, and I love Topeka.
Top city.
Top
Hey,
city,
man,
yeah.
Topeka has some pretty good fiestas over there, man.
Hey.
I've been to them a few times.
They have one of the largest fiestas in the country, the Fiesta Mexicana. Now Fiesta Topeka, they changed the name.
Okay.
And but it's a great fiesta, and so yeah, born and raised Topeka High, Topeka High Trojan, Washburn University, Washburn Ichabod.
Wow.
And I just sort of when I talk to younger people or college students, I get asked to speak all the time, and I always speak about the importance of getting involved.
Oh yeah.
And that's what really led me here, is getting involved. My involvement in the community got the attention of a mayor. And he said, former Mayor Butch Felker, and he goes, Carlos, I want to see you after this event. And I said, okay, Mayor. And he goes, Carlos, I want to appoint you to the City Planning Commission of the city of Topeka.
Wow.
And I said, Mayor, I'm sure you can find someone more qualified.
What does that mean?
I know nothing about city planning. I know nothing about economic development. I'm sure there's someone more qualified for you, but I'm honored you would ask me.
Right.
And he goes, Carlos, that's the easy stuff. You can learn that. He goes, right now, I have a planning commission that's out of touch with community. And I've been watching you, and you're in touch with community, and that's what I'm missing.
Wow.
The technical stuff, you'll learn that.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Oh yeah.
So I said, if you're willing to take a chance on me, Mayor, I'll do it.
When was
How old?
this?
Yeah. How old were you when that happened?
Oh, no, I was already out of college, but this was probably 2000.
Okay.
So I was on the Planning Commission of 2000, 2004, 2001, 2004, 5, right around there. And I became a sponge. There was 9 commissioners.
Yeah.
I quickly became the voice of business, particularly small business.
Yeah.
And that got the attention of other entities. And I was fair. I was not like give business a complete rubber stamp.
Right.
But let's be fair to business.
Yeah.
And let's understand that if you're going to have a strong neighborhood, you're not going to have a strong neighborhood if there's not a strong local mom and pop business on the corner.
Right.
Because they create jobs and they're bringing commerce and they sponsor, they invest, they're vested in the community.
Yeah.
And think about growing up, the small businesses that were in all of our corners. You know,
Yeah, everybody knew them. Everybody had them, their memories. And we talk about it all the time, something that we remember from our childhood. Well, and that's part, in fact, why we started this whole podcast, because it's to recognize them mom and pop places and that nobody knows about, that nobody that are still around, and everybody has a story, man.
Yeah, and you have those childhood memories, and being from Topeka, one of the small businesses that's unfortunately no longer there, but we would come up from Topeka. That was La Fama Bakery.
Oh yeah.
On Southwest Boulevard.
Yeah, I remember that place.
And I mean, it was just incredible. Mexican bread and cookies, and we would come up just for La Fama Bakery from Topeka. My dad and me would come up, and my brothers, and so small business is, you got to really protect small business, and it goes into, I didn't know anything about. I knew sales. I was working in the retail industry, but what did I know about small business? And so that education on the Planning Commission. And that's why I'm glad to see Luis Padilla. He's now Commissioner Luis Padilla on the KCMO Planning Commission. It's yes. And I was glad when Jose Luis Munoz became a planning commissioner for the city of Olathe about 5-8 years ago. And we need to get more diversity, not just Latinos, more diversity in general on all these boards and commissions, because someone from a community, we know our story, our community story, and we know how to help with those barriers, to help a city be better for everybody.
Well, I mean, let's face it, right? Like some of that economic development, years ago, it was who do you know, and they'd kind of massaged each other's backs, to make sure through the planning commission process, they all had friends. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just kind of how economic development, you know what I mean?
They're all kind of like
many
this.
years ago, right?
They got like this.
It was a little challenging back then. Not maybe
back
for
then,
a lot for
I'm sure.
Hispanics, I'm sure. But so you're from Topeka. You said you graduated from Topeka High, right?
Yep.
Washburn University. Did you know? I mean, I saw you studied business.
I have a double major. I graduated actually high school early. I graduated a semester early and started college. And my first degree was in marketing. And then I went another year to get a management degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, man. Who were those people that influenced you?
Yeah, who pushed you that way?
Who pushed you?
Oh, obviously my parents.
Yeah.
First of all, my parents, there was no doubt that I was going to college, and they never had to push it. It was just instilled that you will go to college. They never. It was just they assumed that. Therefore, I took that on. And so my mom was always someone who volunteered in the community.
Yeah.
So growing up, when it was the March of Dimes, she would go door to door collecting, and I would be a little kid with her.
Yeah.
She was involved with Our Lady of Guadalupe Fiesta Mexicana, and as a little kid, I don't know if I was helping, but I thought I was helping.
Yeah.
I would be there. And then my dad always told me, he goes, Carlos, when your grandparents came to this country, someone was there to help them. And I had what we had because others helped them, and it's your responsibility. He really instilled that, and that you have to help others.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier your father's a Korean War vet?
Korean War veteran, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
What branch of the military?
He was in the Army. In fact, I got in trouble, not in a bad way.
Uh-oh.
About 3 years ago, I stopped doing this. 2 or 3 years ago, I started posting. I put a picture of my dad on Veterans Day, thanking him for his service, and a picture of him when he was in Korea. And he was actually in Okinawa, and he's there with the little Asian kid and taking a picture, and then so I go, okay, I'm going to put my other uncles that were in veterans, and then I would put my Uncle Carlos, and then my uncle. And then I would get messages from cousins saying, I noticed you didn't put my dad up. And I go, I didn't know your dad was, I had no idea that my uncle was a veteran. They go, he served in the Navy. I go, well, send me a picture.
Yeah, man.
And I have at least 18 uncles that have served from World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War.
Wow.
At least 18. And there may be more. My dad and mom are both, both 1 of 14 children.
Wow.
And
Big
so
families,
big
man.
families.
Yeah.
And so and I'm not gonna say which cousin because they may be watching this. But they go, how come you didn't put my dad? I go,
you'll
I
get a
didn't
phone
know.
call.
I didn't know.
Sounds like cousin Jaime.
Oh yeah, man. We got a cousin.
Yeah.
Man.
So I said, okay, I can't do that because I'm afraid I'm gonna leave somebody out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you never thought about going to the military? I mean, that's a
No.
lot of military family.
It is. No. I wouldn't make it past boot camp. Now I bring what we work throughout the history of the chamber here. We've worked very closely with the military, particularly the Army, and several different projects. And these are the things that are important to do, but are they business related? Going back to what I said earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are some things that are the right thing to do, so we do them. So we actually worked with the Army called the PAYS program. And so the PAYS program, it's for that non-career veteran. It's for that veteran, someone who joins the military, the Army, not to retire, but hey, I'm going to go 3, 4 years, 6 years, or 8 years to get money for college or training.
Right.
And which they're very important to the military as well. I mean, they're no lesser of anyone. And so what that PAYS program is we help the Army connect to corporate America. So what it does is, if I was trying to recruit you, I could say, okay, you want to be an engineer? Well, hey, look, Burns and McDonnell is one of the companies in the PAYS program. You are guaranteed an interview once you complete your service with us.
Wow.
And so we actually connected the Army with Burns and McDonnell. Burns and McDonnell was not a part of the program.
Wow.
Burns and McDonnell became part of the program. So fast forward, I'm having lunch with the CEO of Burns and McDonnell, Greg Graves, and his senior team. And one of his senior team, she goes, Carlos, tell Greg how you got us involved with the military.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, well, Greg, we got you signed up with the PAYS program, which guarantees a veteran an interview.
Yeah.
And he goes, Carlos, you don't know how significant this is. And I go, yeah, I do. He goes, no, you don't. And I go, well, educate me. And he says, do you know how many? He goes, first of all, veterans are very important to Burns and McDonnell as our. He goes, they are very important to us. And he goes, number two, do you know how many people applied with Burns and McDonnell last year?
Oh yeah.
And
man.
I said, no, 74,000.
Oh my God.
And he goes, and for you to connect us with the Army, to get a veteran an interview, to guarantee him an interview that has a skill set that we need, is not only value to us, it's a value to to that veteran for serving our country.
yeah.
And wow, I didn't realize that many people applied.
Hey, another applause, right? That's another great thing. You know, that, and I don't even know who. Like, I didn't know that.
Right.
You know, and that's. You know, I'm sure I don't know if anybody else. I'm sure besides them. You know.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing: if you work for a company that has over 500 employees, ask them if they're part of the PACE program, because it's a free program that they can sign up with the United States Army. It helps the Army recruit, and it helps the entity get talent.
Wow.
And so everyone wins, right?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I've worked with veterans pretty much my whole career, and man, they're some of the most committed individuals you could bring into the workplace.
They are, and there's an education piece with some of corporate America, and I actually had this. I had one corporate America, someone way up in the company. I'm not going to say which company, and they said, Carlos, you know, if you're in the military, you're trained to take orders. You're not trained to think outside the box.
Right.
And I said, I respectfully disagree with that. And I go, do you have any family members that have been in the military or in the military or veterans?
Yeah.
And they said no. And see, that's part of the reason you need that education piece, because they don't know.
That's a problem.
And I said, if you know anyone in the military, I don't care if even if they're on the front line, you have to make sometimes a decision that not only affects your life, but the lives around you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I disagree that veterans do not think outside the box.
Yeah.
Man, the nerve of that guy to say that.
You're right.
You know, the nerve.
Yeah,
man.
but again, it's you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so where we came in with the military, nothing against the military, they have recruiters.
Yeah.
But once you go through the military, I'm the sales guy. I would be an awful soldier.
Yeah, man.
Or a general.
Oh, man. Yeah, I
So
can
don't
Don't
imagine.
discredit yourself too.
Yeah,
much.
man.
No, but I would. That's not my. I mean, so where I can come in to help them, and where I have the advantage is I know how to talk to people to hopefully educate them.
Yeah.
And so that hopefully that person rethought, and maybe they went away thinking, okay, let me rethink this. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, and I'm sure they did.
I hope so.
I'm sure they did, man. I'm sure they did.
You mentioned earlier that you were in the corporate world for a little bit.
Well, I worked for Best Buy for
Buy.
17 and a half years.
Okay.
And probably one of the best experiences I've ever
At
had.
Best Buy.
So was that fresh out of college or
I was while I was in college,
in college?
and I stayed with them after.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what'd you come in as? Just a sales associate?
I came in as a supervisor of media, which was back in the day because of technology.
Yeah.
My department was gone now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The CD and cassette.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
cassettes?
Oh, yeah, man.
That was probably the best place to work back then.
Oh, it was back then.
It was.
Best
During the
Buy.
40% of any Best Buy store was dedicated to music and movies and software.
Yeah.
And because of technology and downloading, they've had to be creative and reinvent that space, and they've done so successfully. And but I came in as a supervisor. I wasn't looking for any management position. What really started this is I was managing a fourplex in college, as a junior in college. I was managing a fourplex theater, and even as a sophomore and freshman, I was a manager of a sixplex and theater in Topeka, fourplex. And a lot of my friends didn't have to work. Well, I had to work.
Yeah.
So I was saving up my money, and I told myself, my senior year, I'm gonna not work. I want to be like my friends.
Oh,
And
how'd that go with your parents?
and I didn't want that because I was doing payroll and weekly inventories and having to hire or fire and I'm in college, and I'm firing people older than me, and hiring people older, which was kind of weird for me. It was but it was looking back at that, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And so I quit my job. I gave the theater, which was Crown Cinema Corporation, who was the brother of the AMC. AMC Theaters is Stan Durwood. His brother, Richard Durwood, owned Crown Cinema. So I worked for the brothers. And,
Gotcha.
And so Richard Durwood had smaller markets like Topeka, St. Joe, Jeff City.
Sure.
And Stan Durwood had, Miami, LA. As brothers, they didn't want to compete.
Yeah.
And I gave them a 4-month notice that I'm quitting.
4 months.
4 months.
Man, you're kind.
Yeah, that's real nice.
I gave them
man.
a 4 months notice that I'm quitting, and it's not that I didn't love the job. I loved it, but I said I want my senior year of college where all I focus on is my studies.
Yeah.
And Crown Cinema, Mr. Durwood, they were very good to me, and they said, if you change your mind, you can always come back.
Yeah.
And so I was 2 months not working, 3 months. And not only did I not know what to do with myself,
I'm sure you got really bored and tired and restless, man.
oh my gosh, I was like, what do I do with all this time? And my grades were going down. My grades were better when I was working full time because I knew when I had any little time, I had to study.
You had to study, yeah.
So I didn't know how to manage my time. And so I saw this, and even though I could have gone back, I'm a firm believer you don't go back. And I saw this advertisement saying there's a new concept coming to Topeka called Best Buy, and it showed the price tag. And what most people don't realize is Topeka, Kansas was the test store for Best Buy as a company for the non-commissioned big box format that you see today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a whole new concept. It didn't exist. Even with the other Best Buys were smaller stores, high pressure sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I applied, and I was just hoping to get a full-time job. I wasn't looking for any type of supervisor.
Man.
And they saw that I managed a theater, and they go, we want to make you I was in the middle.
Sure.
And I said, let's do it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
There it is.
So you
And
were there, and I mean, he was there. How long were you there?
17 and a half years.
Oh my God.
wow.
Yeah.
So back with the mayor seeing something in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys seen something in you.
Yeah.
Man, that seems to follow you.
Well, thank
this
you.
whole deal. And one thing I wanted to touch on that. With that being said, one thing I seen about you was that you were labeled for the top 50
Oh man.
most potential
Influential.
I'm sorry, in Kansas City. There's a list, right? They're
I
top
think it literally says power people in Kansas
powerful.
City.
It
powerful.
does.
I mean,
Yeah.
we fall into the bottom 2%, but we're with top 0.5% person.
Hey, we're sitting here with one of them, man. One of the 50. That article that I read, man, which is in the was it the Journal?
It was KC Magazine.
KC Magazine,
Talk
man.
about that, man.
Gosh, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I hate that attention. I hate that spotlight.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't apply for it. I don't know what the qualifications were.
There wasn't an advertisement you saw like Best Buy. Like,
There wasn't. And they called me up and they said, "Hey, we want to come take a photo of you. You are going to be in our November issue as the top most influential power players."
yeah.
Well, let's speak about that photo,
Yeah,
man. There
man,
was something
because
that
I saw the photo. First of all, congratulations.
yes, for
thank
sure.
Honestly, that's a huge accomplishment and recognition of you, Carlos.
Yes.
man.
Thank you,
The
thank
work
you.
that you do here in Kansas City. I saw the photo and I was like, what was Carlos thinking about to look this serious? Like,
I was thinking like he probably
wasn't
just
me, right?
I was thinking like he probably just got off the phone. Somebody made him mad, or just,
somebody pissed him off before he took this photo. Because every time I see you, Carlos, just like right now,
Just
you
like
have
this,
you have
man.
a smile on your face,
Yeah.
man. So I'm curious, like, what were you thinking, like?
Well, they took the first photos while I was smiling. And then the photographer, and he came with someone with the magazine. They okay, we want you to be serious. This is power, and we want you to be serious.
Power,
And when they took it, and then they came out, I go, oh my gosh, I look mad. I look mad in that picture. And but you know what? It was so funny. Some of the members and who are my friends, we're a family. The members become your friends and family.
Sure.
They said, "No, Carlos, we need you to be more mean." One of them nicknamed me. He goes, "That's Carlos 3.0." Like the new Microsoft version.
Yeah.
And we need you out there being more demanding for the community and more stern. And I have my way of leadership. And Mayor Sly James, one of the. I want to go back. First of all, when it comes to those things, I really don't like those. I don't know. I think as Latinos, we're very, we don't, we don't like that.
Kind of private, kind of private.
Yeah.
Keep our what we do.
I don't know.
A little
I started
bit
a
like
podcast, Carlos. People are probably like, "Man, this dude likes attention."
that. Yeah, I know, right? Like, what are you doing this for?
We're not good as a community of accepting praise.
Yeah.
We're not, as a whole. We're
No,
not.
I get it, yeah.
And I think that's just instilled to us by our parents to be humble, work hard, don't complain, be humble, right?
Yeah.
And those are great attributes, right? But I thought to myself, I go, oh man, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to embrace it, because how can I use this to help the members of the chamber and to help the Latino community? How can I use this acknowledgement? And so I'm going to accept it on that behalf.
Yeah.
But Mayor Sly James, I did receive an award. I received an award from the Mexican government, the Oatley Award, which is the highest award given by the Mexican government to a non-Mexican citizen.
Wow.
And it's for helping, for making a difference with Mexican nationals and in the Hispanic community. Wow. I think I received that in 2016, 15 by the Mexican government. And Mayor Sly James, the Mexican consulate asked Mayor Sly James to be the presenter to me. And Mayor Sly James said, Carlos is that leader that he's that quiet leader. He doesn't yell at you. He doesn't, but he goes, but if you do something wrong, your phone's lighting up.
Yeah.
And he's going to let you know. Yeah. And how did he say it? He goes, he's a quiet influencer. He's always there in the back, in the room, saying you can't do that or you got to do this. And I was really, grateful and for Mayor Sly James to think of that of me,
Oh, man.
Absolutely, man. And that's another great recognition. Man.
It is for a whole nother country, our country. Or, you know what I mean? It's just for them to recognize that and send you that, man. That's bad.
So the power, 50 people, top 50 people in Kansas City, Carlos, man, that doesn't come without its challenges, right? Like, my guess is you don't, not just, excluding the Power 50 stuff. Yeah. Just your role, the work that you do, man. What are those challenges that you have that you're like, man, I could really do without this? If this is always,
Oh gosh, yeah.
Do that cow gonna take me away commercial, man, right? Like, hold up.
You know what? There's always challenges, and I think the hardest part is you're dealing with so many different personalities. Mm-hmm. You're dealing with so many different political sides. And there's not just two.
Yeah.
There's many.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The most challenging part is to get people to understand that are on opposite sides, or that, we have to be able to sit down and talk about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have to be able to work together.
Right.
And there's a lot of, if you're not with me, you're against me.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
And here's the other thing. I'm going to say this, and when this may get some comments on your podcast.
You might get kicked back off of it. Go ahead, man.
There's almost like a national trend, I say a trend. There's just, you see it more and more, that people want to make capitalism a bad thing. Mm. We are a capitalist country. Mm-hmm. It is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I saw a post one time, and I usually I stay away from social media debates. And I saw a post that said, don't go do this. Don't go support this national company. Only support local. Well, you know what? We can support both.
Mm. Yeah.
And that big company was once a small company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They started out in a garage. Started out with the dream, and
100%, man.
Yeah.
And they became successful. So now we want to punish them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of and again, I don't want to get too far into. I'm not going to name the companies,
Sure.
but to your question, the challenging part is how do we sit down together, even when we disagree, and let's try and find common ground.
Yeah. I
And
think
what can we work together?
I think to even touch on that, the problem is there's a lot of people that are not open-minded to a lot of different things with what you're saying.
Yes, yes, and sometimes I got to look at myself, and I always tell my members, my friends, non-members, if you ever see me get out of line, or if you feel I need to know, because it's very easy when you get acknowledgments like the top 50 to forget.
Right.
Yeah.
And my board gets mad at me because for those of you that know me, JL knows me. At our holiday party, I'm picking up trash. I'm hauling ice. I'm
else.
bringing in beer. And some of my board gets, you're the president. You shouldn't be doing that. And I go, you know what? This is my party. I'm the host. Have you ever hosted a party before?
Man.
They go, yes. Well, who's doing the work?
Me.
Who eats last?
Me. If not the next day.
and maybe I'm too far to one side, but so I always try and make sure that I or the chamber to constantly, we have to challenge ourselves to make sure we're not the roadblock. We're not the roadblock of creating new leadership.
Right.
We're not the roadblock to not saying, hey, I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're very fair. But we're open to people. If someone feels we're not, well, please let us know. We're not perfect.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man.
And no organization is, right?
No, not at all.
No, man. I mean, I think you hit on a lot there, Carlos. I mean, I could imagine, the nature of being involved in a chamber, and particularly working and leading one, is to help, like to your point, businesses, large, small, medium, doesn't matter, be successful, right? But particularly the small.
Yes.
And you said this earlier. You're like, well, we're here to make money. That's what we're here for, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what they're here for.
Right.
They're here to make money.
Yes.
By definition, capitalism. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, man, and I can imagine how challenging that is whenever you have people come out and kind of bash on that a little bit.
Yes. It's an easy target.
Yeah.
And there are great business owners out there. There are business owners that aren't great, right? We like to work with the great ones, and we like to create great ones.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
No, that's cool, man. Well, look, let's talk about the city for a second.
all right.
Oh, yeah.
The city, Kansas City. Man.
Let me hear it.
One of the things that we push, here on Enterrupt KC, People, Places, and Things, Kansas City, Carlos, is the fact that D-Rod and I are both born and raised in this city. We've seen, I remember when there was a very thick state line, a very thick one. And to some degree, there still is sometimes, right? But that state line has really thinned. And I've seen the city more kind of merge together and understand, you know what, we're one big metropolitan area,
Yes.
right? Talk about that, man. I mean, the work that you guys do, have you seen that? Have you seen the city just start to understand, like, okay, we have to grow and mature into a one big metropolitan area?
I think so. And as each year goes by, you see more and more of that collaboration of planning, future planning.
Right.
We're one metro, one KC. What has really helped is I'm going to bring it back to sports, but
Sure.
the Chiefs winning.
Oh, absolutely.
The success, right? The success of Sporting KC, the new Current, all these sporting teams, the Royals, all these teams actually, I think, are the uniter.
I think so too. Yeah.
Having the World Cup coming,
Oh yeah.
Copa America,
Right.
they are uniting. I think us as a community. No matter what ethnicity, what gender, because now we can get behind a team, right? We'll get behind and root. We're all on the same side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do have one employee though that's a Raiders fan.
Oh my God. Oh man, get rid of that guy.
Call him right now on Enterrupt KC. Fire that person.
But when you have that, I think there's a lot of great leadership going on throughout the metro. The Greater Chamber, Joe Reardon has done a great job of bringing people. The EDC has done a great job of One KC. And you don't see the border wars as much of bringing companies, giving them incentives to move across.
Yeah.
Although there's rumors on the attracting teams the other side, but those are rumors.
Yeah.
I think people understand that for us to be successful, it's a necessity that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And that there isn't a dividing line, whether it's a county line, a city line, or state line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think us as a greater Hispanic chamber, we definitely play a piece in that. And I think overall it's been the leadership of the mayors have done a great job of working together, and the governors.
You brought up the sports team, man, and so I'm gonna hit you with this. Do you have a strong opinion on the downtown baseball stadium, one way or the other?
Oh wow, here you go. That's a hot topic right now.
Do you want to see
if you want to answer, you don't have to. But
no, I mean I have no problem answering. So we were a part of like 9 organizations that did a press release Saturday.
Oh, nice.
That came out, and it was the Greater Chamber, Downtown Council, Civic Council, Heartland Black Chamber, Hispanic Chamber, Urban League, Negro Baseball Hall of Fame, and more others.
Everybody.
I'm missing. We all came out with a statement that went to Jackson County leadership, saying that they need to work this out, work out the final details, and let's let the voters of Jackson County decide on April 2nd. Let them decide.
Yeah, it's a torn deal, man. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want it, because they say, just to kind of touch on it from what I hear, right, is that the traffic will make it even worse,
Yes.
Congestion, man, with everything, especially with the bridges being built and all that other stuff. I don't know.
Oh, I personally, man, listen. I personally feel like it's the next phase of the maturation of Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think I've been saying, hey, listen, man, we need to start thinking about a downtown stadium. 20 years ago, I was saying that when nobody watched the Royals, but probably myself and 10 other people.
Yeah.
So, I was just curious, man, if you have any thoughts.
Well, the chamber has not taken a position other than we want to see it on the ballot April 2nd.
Yeah.
And not pushed off.
Sure.
Personally, I'll tell you I want to see a stadium downtown.
Yeah.
I do.
I would like it too.
But are there problems, to your point, of traffic and parking? We'll figure it out.
Well, I know, and we will, and I mean, even the current stadium, which is phenomenal. I love it, man. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I talk to people, man. So people complaining like, man, that bridge is already congested and crazy there. What are they going to do? Add another ramp to it or whatever, But there's people that always see the bad things about it. Don't think about the good,
Well, and I see it in my personal, this is Carlos speaking as an individual, not the chamber.
Sure.
I see the benefits. How many home games are there?
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be great for Southwest Boulevard, downtown businesses, 18th and Vine. It's going to be great for the hotels, more tax being collected by the hotels, visitors tax.
For sure.
It's going to
be great for the city.
It'll be great for the city. If you go to any other major city, man, all the parks are right there. I went to St. Louis and watched the Royals play there. I think it was St. Louis.
St. Louis is really nice.
Yeah, and there's bars and everything right there. Right after the game, boom, there we go. Go eat, go drink, keep on partying.
So I personally would like to see it downtown. And I wouldn't be, Clay County's fine too. I'm not opposed to Clay. I would like to see, because Clay County, it was right, North Kansas City. It's pretty much downtown.
Yeah.
But I think it does need to come closer to the downtown area.
I think so too.
And I just think it'll be an anchor, and not to mention the building of that will give opportunity to our members to help build that new stadium.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. Cha-ching, cha-ching, man.
This is, double whammy, man.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned World Cup, Copa America. I can't imagine there being a World Cup game in Kansas City or a Copa America game in Kansas City without the Hispanic Chamber being somewhat involved.
Gotta be.
Are you guys involved in that?
Yes and no. Okay. We have been meeting with the committee members of the committee.
Okay.
And so, yes, we are. And they've been incredible to reaching out to us. They actually have reached out to us saying, hey, we want to make sure the Latino community is involved. Mm-hmm. So we have a committee. made up of specifically working on the World Cup.
Okay.
It's led by some board members of the Hispanic Chamber.
Yeah.
We're not no official relationship with the
Sure.
we did it on our own.
Yeah.
But we actually put things in 3 categories. We had all these different things we wanted to see. We had like 80 different things, all right?
Yeah.
And we said, oh my gosh, if we come to them with a list of 80 things, they're going to say, you guys are...
Get out of here with that. What do you think we are, man?
Yeah. So we still have those 80 things, but they come under... We refined them, but they come under 3 areas.
Yeah.
One area is, how does minority businesses... what is the process for minority businesses to participate with the World Cup coming?
Yeah.
Is there, what's that process look like? Do you have to be certified? If you have to be certified with who?
Right.
Is there a website, a vendor website? What does that look like? How do you plug in so that they know that here's a list of diverse companies, particularly Hispanic, that could be hired, whether it's limousine service, construction, whatever, rental, staffing.
Right.
So that was one category. So we had a lot of,
A breakdown of it
of
all,
that
right?
under that category. Number 2, what is the impact on the community, for the Latino community? What is the plan for the Latino community? In particular, how do we get the immigrant Hispanic community to be able to participate in the World Cup? The Spanish-speaking immigrant community. And, these tickets are going to be very expensive.
Yes.
Most people won't be able to afford to go, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean we can't participate.
Right.
And so there's going to be a World Cup, like a fair that goes on for 30 days, 31 days. So what does that look like?
Right.
Is there Latin-themed days? Are there... Can we have busing from the different Latino neighborhoods going into to make sure that we remove barriers?
Right.
So what is the plan?
Right.
And we're not just saying we see these as potential barriers. We want to help.
Yeah.
So we're here to help them remove these barriers to ensure the Latino community fully participates. And also we're asking, is there a community fund? Usually when an event like that comes, there's money set aside that is invested in the community that leaves up an impact from now on.
Right.
Whether it's more soccer fields, what have you. So we wanted to know, what is that, and who can we have? What is our? How do we participate in giving input of what that is?
Yeah.
What we don't want to see is that community commitment go to areas that our community doesn't have access to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or we're left out.
Yeah.
And then the third area, and the community area is there's a lot of things in that community area. The third area is representation. We want representation on these committees. And the World Cup requires so many committees. There is a marketing committee, a transportation committee, a human trafficking committee.
Wow.
We want representation as a Latino community. How do we, and how do the Latino community, how do we put our names forward to say we want to be looked at to be on these committees?
Be involved with it,
Yeah, because if we don't know what the rules are, then we're going to see a committee without us.
Yeah.
So we've already had many meetings, and where those meetings will continue to happen.
Oh, yeah, man.
And my hat's off to the World Cup committee, because they've been very welcoming for all of our ideas. They've graciously taken all of our requests for meetings.
Yeah.
And they've been listening.
Good,
Are you a soccer fan?
You know what? I'm the one Latino that doesn't watch soccer.
No.
I don't watch soccer. I do go to I'll go to 2 sporting games a year.
Okay.
But here's the people laugh at this. Okay, I went to go see Paul McCartney at the time. It was at the T-Mobile Center, but the Sprint Center.
Yeah.
I convinced my brothers. I go, come on, let's buy some tickets. It's Paul McCartney. So we went on the third market and bought 8th row tickets, dead center. I don't want to tell you what we paid for those.
Yeah.
But we figured we'll never see him again. He's a Beatle.
Yeah.
So we go, and the whole row in front of us is empty up until 10 minutes before the show. This whole row is in. The 7th row is empty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on here? You know, when are these people going to show up? Yeah. And right 10 minutes before the show, here comes all these people, and they all had backstage passes. I always look for these. For those of you who don't know me, I love music.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
And I'm a groupie. I have no shame. Well, and so this row gets in front of us, and the concert's going on, and everybody's, how can you not get into it? Especially when he's, doing Paul McCartney and the Wings music, and he's doing the Beatles music, and everybody, and it was mainly men. Yeah. There was some women, but they were very reserved. But you could tell they were enjoying it. Yeah. And then the guy in front of me, he's trying to do a selfie with the person, with Paul McCartney, and you can't hear, so I just said, like, do you want me to take your picture? Yeah. And so he hands me his phone, I take his picture, and he shakes my hand, thanking me. The next day, I opened up the Kansas City Star to read the review, and the review said, there were 2 nights in the Sprint Center last night. One was Sir Paul McCartney, who was knighted by the Queen, and the other was the general manager of Manchester United, Sir Andrew. It was the guy that I did not recognize. And it was the Manchester United team. Wow. It was the whole team. Wow. And
to your point, you didn't recognize him because you don't watch soccer.
I don't watch soccer, and he's considered, Manchester United is considered, apparently it's considered one of the top premier soccer teams, and he was considered one of the most prominent managers in the history of the team. And I showed his picture, and I go, oh my gosh, that's the guy I took that was his phone.
Good thing you took it, because if he would have gave me his phone, I would have been like this. Take my old picture. There you go, man.
I did not recognize. I didn't know who he was. Yeah. So my staff was like, how could you not know who he was? And I don't watch soccer.
So I didn't. When I wasn't a big soccer guy growing up either, man.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of there with you. I've really grown to appreciate the impact soccer has on Kansas City.
Yeah.
Me as well.
Sporting KC, they had their championship, several years ago. To see KC currently build an all-female, stadium for the team, I think that's just incredible. The first, I think, in the nation, that they're doing. Kansas City just seems to be in a different space, and it's going to a different space day by day, year by year. To that point, man, did you see that New York Times, Wall Street Journal have named Kansas City as a place to visit in 2024?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so Wall Street Journal specifically, New York Times has Kansas City with like 50 different other places or more. Wall Street Journal one of the top 10 places to visit in 2024.
Yeah.
Wow.
Compared with, listen to this, Carlos, Quintana Roo, Mexico, Malaysia. There's places in Japan, Africa. I mean, like literally places around the world.
Wow.
And Kansas City is right there on that top 10 list.
That's incredible.
Well, what do you think about that, man, when you hear stuff like that?
You know what? You know what I hear from people that have moved here or that visit here? They see a sense of city pride. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they said, I had a friend that came from West Palm Beach, and she said, Carlos, West Palm Beach is a beautiful city, but you never see people wearing shirts that say, West Palm Beach. Oh, those locals, the locals.
Yeah.
They have,
they're wearing tank tops, man.
Yeah, they're just there.
There's a KC pride that everyone recognizes. Yeah. That when they come here, that people that live here love this city. Yeah. And when I say KC, that's Lee Summit, that's Olathe, that's Leawood, that's Gladstone. I mean, everyone says, we're Metro, KC. And you don't, and I travel a lot with this job, you don't see that sense of city pride at the level that it is in Kansas City. Yeah. I think this is just my personal, I think a lot of it goes back to our teams.
Our two sports teams.
The Sportings, the Royals, the Chiefs, and the Current. Yeah. And we're a lot of them, ever since the Royals won the World Series, you've sent and then Sporting KC winning the National, and then the Chiefs back to back. That has really brought out that, hey, this is a great place. And I'm not surprised. Yeah. but I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I mean, I same way, and you know, to your point, man, and my wife, my kids, they know this about me. I don't go when I travel. I intentionally am rocking like
Yeah,
Chiefs hat.
yeah,
KU,
me too.
You know, Royals. You know,
Yeah.
shirt, something, hoodie, something that is identifying me as I'm from Kansas City.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, just because I have so much pride of this town. What I need. I'm gonna tell you what I need right now because I love wearing hats, unique hats. I need a Ferris wheel. That Ferris wheel on a hat. Can you make that happen? Do you know the Ferris wheel people?
No, but I have some members that do embroidery.
There you go, man.
Actually, I have met the developers of the Ferris wheel. And great news, Palacana Ice Cream Store is going to go into that development.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Man.
So what is that development like? What is that going to be exactly?
Have you rode that yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh,
no.
okay.
The development it's an entertainment district, but it's targeting families.
Yeah.
They're going to close at midnight. It's not a power and light district, so it's going to have a lot of family-oriented things going on, entertainment, and there's going to be restaurants and ice cream and then that Ferris wheel. So yeah.
I mean, you know, I was joking. We had somebody else on the we did an episode with, and I said, "You want to know when I knew Kansas City made it? When they put a Ferris wheel right next to the highway, bam!" I'm like, "Oh,
there's a lot of them all over in different cities for some. You know, there's a lot of them.
We're stamped now, man.
Yeah, man. We done made it.
I'm curious, man. One of the questions I have for you, Carlos, is where do you see the city 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Where do you see the city?
You know what? First of all, I see a lot of positive development going on. So I see that each time, and you know, a new Royal Stadium will be huge. Hopefully, we'll have a dome down the line for the Chiefs, so we can host the Super Bowl.
Yeah. They voted on that years ago. You know.
But when we sucked, you know, that's why everybody said no.
Hey, but when we sucked, we were still there in them seats, man.
We're going to see a city with more mass transit. Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
I forgot how many billions, and Kansas City was one of the larger recipients of the majority of that money. Mm-hmm. So we'll hopefully see soon, you know, mass transit from the airport to downtown and to other parts of the city. Yeah. You're going to see more park space. What people don't realize is Kansas City today is one of the, historically, we have more parks than most cities. It's like in the top in the world. Mm-hmm. And
City of Fountains.
Yep, the City of Fountains. And I think you're going to see more park space. And you're seeing the 670 park space going over. Hopefully that'll be going through. I think they've already raised more than half of that, $210 million.
Is that the place, the bridge that they're going to make like a nightlife with bars and restaurants and stuff?
Well, this is going to be green space that's going to connect the crossroads to Power and Light.
Oh, okay.
And there's different ideas that they asked for community input. And one idea is to have an outdoor amphitheater, like in Chicago. They have that real modern downtown amphitheater to do concerts.
Yeah.
One idea is to make it like a food truck, designed for food trucks.
To come in and out.
Yep. But there's going to be a lot of, the concept, there's going to be a lot of green space.
Okay.
And it's a connector to Crossroads, to Power and Light. Mm-hmm. And it's a $210 million development. And from my understanding, they've already raised over half. Wow. So that's good.
Yeah.
So looking forward, we're going to see a city that has our transportation even better. Yep. You're going to see a more diverse city. You're going to see just a lot more amenities. And you're starting to see even around the metro, a lot of the cities, Riverside's they just broke ground on a 15,000 outdoor amphitheater with a roof.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's going to be the largest amphitheater for concerts in Kansas City.
Yeah, on Riverside.
Wow. Yeah, and so you're going to see not only in the urban core, but throughout more development.
Absolutely.
That's going to make Kansas City a better, more attractive place to come and stay.
Man, that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to the future because, I think back, I don't know about you, D-Rob, I think back 20 years ago in Kansas City. I mean, just right here where we are.
It was dead.
Oh, man.
I remember there was a nightclub right there a long time ago that I went to. Yeah, I can't think of the name of it, but it was pretty awesome, man. I was right there across the street.
Yeah, but just to see the area surrounding the Hispanic Chamber office now. I mean, the library, the books, seeing all that. I mean, that's incredible. That wasn't here 20 years ago.
Nothing was.
But no, that's awesome, man. All right, Carlos.
Switch it up.
Yeah, I mean, man, you're busy. You're busy, man.
Crazy busy.
I'm curious, man. What do you do to get away?
Do you go on vacations anywhere? Do you go back to Topeka? Like what?
Here's the problem on my vacations. If no matter what city I go to, my peers are my friends. So if I go to L.A., I call
you got people there
that are affiliated with the Hispanic chambers there, or if it's in. And then we eventually start talking business.
Right.
So it's really, the business just constantly is coming into even my spare time. And it's hard for me to get away. Yeah. And even.
Why don't you go to Greece or something, man? Go to Italy, man. Go to Italy, man.
Well, and so it's really hard to get away. But I do that to myself, what I like to do in my spare time, I love music. Like I said, I haven't gone to many concerts as I used to go to.
What was the last one you went to?
Gosh, that's a good question. Let me even think. And I love comedy too.
I do too, man.
The last show I went to, is this the last concert? It was probably Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson?
Yeah, last year, who I got to meet.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
How tall is she? Is she like
She's
4'5"?
She's short and very super nice.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to meet Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of hers. And
which one are you? What was it?
It was like Escape, Rhythm Nation, Poetic.
Oh, I started off with Control.
Oh, damn.
Control.
You were way back. Okay.
Man.
Yeah, with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis producing that.
Oh,
the
man.
Minneapolis sound.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I've seen pretty much I didn't see the Control tour, but my first tour I saw was Rhythm Nation. I was in college. And,
man, she had some great tunes on that album, man. That whole vibe she had, man, was just man. It was dope. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
So thanks to a member of ours, they knew I was a big fan, and this member is friends with one of the members is it Teddy Riley with Guy?
Yeah.
And so she used her resources, and she got me on the backstage list.
Wow. You got a picture? You got a picture?
I do. Yes.
Man, you have to send us that picture. Man. I want to take we need that photo, man. Let's get that photo.
And she was super nice, super humble.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I met her dad. I met Joe Jackson in Vegas.
They said he's a rough guy.
You know what? He was super nice to me.
Yeah.
I met him at a fundraiser in Las Vegas, and Joe Jackson, and he had his bodyguard, and he really didn't say much to me. I went up to him and said, Mr. Jackson, I'm the president of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Greater Kansas City. I am a big fan of all your kids. Yeah. And I said, and I was at the Victory Tour opening night at Arrowhead Stadium in 1983.
Oh, my God.
And he's like,
and he smiled.
Yeah.
And all the Jacksons, I think, are pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And he just smiled. And I said, Mr. Jackson, can I take a picture with you? And he said, yes.
You got a picture with him, too?
Yeah, but I lost it. It's in one of my old phones.
Go get in that cloud, man. Go get in that cloud.
I know I have it in one of my old phones. And Janet was the same way. She really didn't say much. She just smiled and was they're very humble.
Yeah.
Very, very humble. Quick story, I was in Vegas on business with your sister. Mm-hmm. And we were, we have a member in Vegas. We're having lunch with her at this hotel by the poolside. And I had two members from Kansas City that joined us. And we were all there to attend this business event, the network. And during the lunch, we're at the event that night. And one of the members, his name is Tan, he's Vietnamese. He goes, Tan, he goes, Carlos, did you see who was behind us at lunch? And I said, what do you mean? We were against the wall. There was no one behind us. He goes, no, when we walked in, did you see who was behind us?
Right.
I go, who? He goes, Jermaine Jackson. And I'm saying, okay, let's just stop right here.
Yeah.
So are we talking Jermaine Jackson of Jackson 5, Motown Jermaine Jackson? Yeah. He goes, yeah, he was right behind us. I go, was he coming in? He goes, Carlos, if you would have just went your elbow like this, you would have hit him.
Yeah.
I said, okay, Tom, you're telling me that you recognized that Jermaine Jackson was inches behind me, and you're telling me 8 hours later.
He didn't tell you then? Oh, man.
I go, and he goes, well, I didn't know. Are you a Jackson 5 fan? I go, isn't everybody a Jackson 5 fan?
Right.
I was so mad at him.
Man.
I was like, next time you see someone, you tell me. So I'm a groupie. That's one side people don't know. I will try and get backstage.
Who do you group the hardest on, man?
I've met a lot of people. I've met Los Lonely Boys many, many times.
Did you see them last time they came here?
I did not see them the last time they came here, but I've met their father. I've met them, and I actually met them before they were famous.
Oh, really?
They played the Grand Emporium on a Wednesday night.
Wow.
No one knew who they were.
Yeah.
And there was only 35 people, 40 people. That's being generous. They got a standing ovation. Me and my friends hung out with them for about an hour after the concert.
Wow.
And they had a van with a trailer behind it.
Yeah.
And I tried to hire them for the Topeka Fiesta. And the manager called me back with an outrageous, to me, which I thought was outrageous price. But I go, no one knows these guys.
Yeah.
6 months later, How Far Is Heaven becomes #1 on Billboard.
Oh, wow.
And then I tried to call him back, and
he was like,
I couldn't. The price just.
Yeah.
I on the way here, Right Hand to God, they were on my playlist. I was listening to. The one song, man, and it's an older song, is Cotton Fields and Crossroads.
Oh, wow.
That's the one to pick up. I love blues, man. I like blues, and he plays that song right there is.
They have that Stevie Ray Vaughan influence, Texas rock, blues.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan was very much
I seen them out there when they came just last summer, right?
the Monarchs.
Yeah, the Monarchs, man, and I was just blown away. I stayed right there the whole time. Everybody else was walking away. I was like, man, this is my jam, man. I love this.
Yeah, no, but I listen to everything. So I met Jody Messina in the country market. I've met many country artists. Probably a lot more. Met Loretta Lynn.
Okay.
Met a lot of country. So
You got pictures of all these?
No, but I got autographs.
Oh.
I got a lot of autographs. Some I have pictures.
You gotta put those on the wall, man.
And then the Latin artists, I've met a lot of Latin artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I imagine.
Met Vicente Fernandez.
Lucky, man.
Yes, I got really lucky with that. He was getting an award in Washington, D.C., and I was at that function.
Yeah.
And some of the members I was with, they ran across the stage because they brought him in from the back, and he went out of the back. And one of the members, he went up on stage and I go, I can't do that. I wanted to do that, but I can't do that. And I stayed, and we were the last people to leave. And then as we're leaving, it was at a hotel in D.C. As we're leaving, we're coming up. There was a restaurant on the main floor, and there he was standing there by himself.
Yeah.
And so me and another member went up and talked to him and got our pictures with him. And
well, man, like Vicente, man, like Chente, people don't know. If you don't know who Vicente Fernandez is, he's basically the Mexican Elvis, right?
Yeah.
But he lived a lot longer than Elvis did.
Yeah, he was legendary.
Legendary.
Yeah, he was super, super nice. Met his wife, and because she was there with him, and so and and I love comedians.
Yeah.
So I met Cedric the Entertainer 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
D.L. Hewley.
Yeah.
Of course, Carlos Mencina, George Lopez.
Felipe Esparza?
Have not seen. No.
What about what's the other one?
Ralph Barbosa.
Ralph Barbosa. We went to go see Ralph Barbosa. I don't know, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I have not. I've seen him on YouTube. He's on my list.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry I missed Mr. Trevino.
I know, man. I wanted to see him too. I was trying to ask my friends and everybody, my wife and my friends, like, man, let's go get some tickets, man. Still, they're like, who? And man, come on, man.
Hey, if it can make me laugh, I'm down for it.
Yeah, man, I love comedy.
I need that in
I
my
love
life,
comedy.
man.
Well, and that's my escape is comedy.
Yeah.
And one thing that Carlos Mencia had says very well, and he would usually end his shows with this. He would say the last 2 hours, we laughed at each other, we laughed at ourselves, because stereotypes are stupid.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a perfect world if every day we could do that? And he goes, well, for the last 2 hours, I gave you that perfect world.
Yeah.
And so because Carlos, he attacks everybody.
He's pretty raw, man. He's pretty raw.
He's real raw, and that's why I love comedy. And I think probably the hardest job would be to be a comedian.
Yeah,
because you have to go in a room. People expect you to make them laugh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Met Sinbad. Sinbad's
one of my favorites. Yeah.
The younger people don't know who he is.
No, and I wonder what happened to him.
Well, he had a stroke, I think, some health issues, but I think he's doing okay. I don't know. But he had 2 years ago, he was having health issues.
Yeah, I love comedy as well. It seems like whenever everything's so serious in your life, man, you just gotta laugh, man. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. You can have the most shittiest day and everything go wrong, but man, put something on or hear something funny, and every once in a while, I still like to put on the serious radio, the comedy channel. You know?
I feel like too, man. We talked a little bit here with you about a lot of culturalisms for Latinos.
Yeah,
I feel like that's our culture. Like we're gonna make fun of something or someone
of each other,
of ourselves,
family members.
You know what I mean? Like that's a culture, thing for us. I don't know. I grew up that way.
Yeah.
You know my sister.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
she's hilarious.
Back and forth, man. We're going back and forth.
I wanted to ask you something too, though, Carlos. Since we're on this type of, good laughing topic, have you ever been? Anybody come up and say, "Hey, Carlos Gomez, the baseball player"? Because there is a baseball player, Carlos Gomez.
No, there is. He plays for the Houston Astros last, I think, or does he current? I don't know if he's still.
I think he is.
Yeah. No, you know what? I haven't. And there's also an actor. If you've ever watched Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek and Matthew Perry, her ex-boyfriend, who's the police officer that goes by Chewy, his acting name is Carlos Gomez.
Really?
Yeah. And so, and there's a jazz artist also. Yeah. No, I've never met any of them.
Man.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to meet him.
I would too. I'd like to meet all of them, man, as well as how I just met you.
Absolutely.
Good thing, man. I don't know, we're going to kind of start wrapping this up a little bit, man. So just a couple other questions, man, we're going to ask you, man. One of them is that, like we said, our Enterrupt KC, man, people, places, and things, man. You obviously have made a tremendous impact here in Kansas City.
Oh, thank you.
And we applaud you for that. Yep. I'm sure as everybody else does. But with that being said, is there any people that obviously, you named a lot, places or things that you feel represent Kansas City?
Yeah, you know what? I look at the Latino business community, and I look at the Latino business leadership that has come out of Kansas City at the national level. And Kansas City Hispanic population has met. I mean, look at Janet Murguia. She's the national director of Unidos U.S., formerly the National Council of La Raza from Kansas City, Kansas. Right. Look at Michael Barrera, who's now back in Kansas City, but he was the national president of the United States Hispanic Chamber. And although Carlos Horta is not a Kansas Citian, he ran HACER, Hispanic Association for Corporate Responsibility in D.C., but he lived in Kansas City for a long time, and he loves Kansas. He's someone who loves Kansas City, and you look at how much national leadership Hector Barreto Sr., but let me tell you who I see as the Kansas City hero is the Hispanic small business owners like your sister, Angie Rodriguez Gagnon, Jose Luis Valdez of Palacana Ice Cream, the Romo family of Taqueria Mexico, the Contreras, San Antonio's, you see all these Hispanic businesses are surrounded by the family, the Charans, and the Medinas of La Fonda Mexican restaurant. And you have all these small businesses that give the local flavor. Yes. I cannot forget my good friend Agustin of Los Alamos.
Los Alamos.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
I love giving him a hard time, and he loves giving me one.
Yeah.
I always ask him. I said one time he gave his Mexican story to a group of people I brought.
Yeah.
And I said, Agustin, what? I go, am I Mexican? He goes, 50-50.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I remember Augustine when he first opened, man. He was just that little stand inside there,
But he's Kansas City.
Yeah.
Him and his family, his wife, his kids, but Benito and his daughter, who are there working every day. Yeah. And so to me, that's who is Kansas City, and that's who the chamber will want to highlight. And I'm going to make people mad that I haven't mentioned them, because there's but all of them.
Next time, man. Next time we get
the Gutanis, the Teocali, the list goes on. You know?
Yeah.
And
Enrique, man, I know Enrique well, man.
Yeah, and I even got into construction.
Yeah.
I mean, so of course,
the list is
the Lopez family, Manny's.
Yeah.
The
Shout out David.
and so that is, here's the thing. This is why malls have failed across the country. Is they pushed out, and even lifestyle centers like you see that don't have the roof, but they're called lifestyle centers. They're so expensive, they exclude the local mom and pop.
Yeah.
Well, that's what people want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to an H&M anywhere.
Yeah.
I can go to a chain restaurant anywhere.
Yeah.
But what's the local flavor? Yeah. And so to me, the heroes.
Yeah.
Is our local Hispanic small businesses.
100%, man. I couldn't agree anymore, man. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Then we wanted to ask you too. We go out to eat anywhere?
Oh gosh, you're gonna get me in trouble. Don't ask me who has the best tacos.
No. I won't ask you. I won't ask you that, because I won't ask you that at all, man.
Like barbecue?
Yeah, barbecue, man.
Oh, you're gonna get me in trouble there too.
Kansas City's known for barbecue, man. We're known for barbecue.
You know what? You'll see me at all of them.
All of them.
You can tell.
I agree, man. I agree. I'm the exact same way, man. I can go to every single one of them. But my deal is this: what I like at, we'll say, Arthur Bryant's, I won't get at Q39.
Correct.
And so to me, it's
nothing against
Q39. I love Q39's ribs, but I won't get them at Rosedale. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I kind of dissect them all.
We did an episode with my sister, hasn't dropped yet, but we asked her the same question, and she said, I'm a rib person, and she mentioned Big Q Barbecue. Have you ever been there?
I have not been there.
Okay.
I haven't either.
I'm going to give them a shout out right here, because my wife and I, we get into this, let's go eat barbecue, once every couple of weeks. And I give her a lot of credit, because Big Q is on 32nd Street and pretty much Steel Road in Argentine, and in Kansas City, Kansas. We went there. She mentioned it. She goes, we should go to Big Q. And I thought, man, my sister mentioned that place. Yeah, we hadn't been there in years. My sister mentioned the ribs. I want the rib plate. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I think I found the new rib plate for me whenever I want some ribs.
Big Q?
Big Q, man. Yeah. Shout out Big Q. Try it.
All right. It'll be on my list.
Seriously.
Put it on the list, man.
Because, we all know the big names, right?
Well, and going back to, we talk about, how often do we eat barbecue? A lot. Yeah. We can support multiple businesses.
Oh, man.
There's so many, man. Yeah. There's so many that's out there, man. There's so many.
But I got to be careful with those questions.
Really?
Because people will say, "Oh, you didn't mention
my place." Yeah, I feel you with that. Is there anything else that you want to share, man?
You know what? One thing I want to share is we're really excited about is that we're getting the National Hispanic Chamber Convention here this year.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be in October 6th through the 8th.
All right.
It's going to be at the Convention Center, downtown Kansas City, Missouri, and the Lowe's Hotel is the host hotel.
Yeah.
This is the largest convening of Hispanic business leadership in the country.
Wow.
And we'll be here for 3 days. And the site selection committee, which was not the voting committee, they unanimously selected us, and the full board unanimously selected Kansas City.
Wow.
And it came down to 6 cities, and it came down to Kansas City and San Juan, Puerto Rico, which was a hard city to beat, because San Juan is a beautiful city, beautiful culture, people.
Oh yeah.
But they're not on the top 10 place to visit.
Yeah, but they're not in that book, man.
I don't know, they might be. But let me tell you what the site selection committee said when they came here, and 2 of them had never been to Kansas City. They said, "Oh my gosh, the one thing we came away with is people love this city."
Yeah.
And I think that's what we all project as Kansas Cityans. And that came out so loud and clear to them.
Oh, yeah.
That pride, that city pride.
Yeah.
And that really, I think, helped. And them meeting those small business owners. We made sure they met, Miel with Cafe Corazon, And we made sure they met all these small mom and pops to show that's what we are here for.
Yeah.
We're here for these small businesses.
That's awesome, man. I mean, hats off to you and your team for all that work, man. Getting that here in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's my birthday weekend, man. So I'm be kicking at that.
Well, hey, and you know what? They bring in. They're going to bring in Latin entertainment. They're going to bring. Okay. This last year was in Orlando, and I got to meet Edward James Olmos because they gave him an award. Yeah. So
did you get a picture? You
know what? I'm in the background. I didn't. I didn't want to look too much like the groupie in that one, but I so admire him from Stand and Deliver.
Stand and Deliver. Many of them, man. Many of them. Yeah, man.
Come on.
So many of them.
That's right. Finger Man.
So
and
many
then, of course,
them,
Mr. Quintanilla and Selena. He's played so many great roles, and American Me. And so so there'll be famous people coming in. Nice. So we want people to mark their calendars. Absolutely. And October 6th through the 8th. And it's going to be a great 3 days of
That's great.
promoting.
What's a good way for somebody to get a hold of you, Carlos? Like, not your phone number or anything like that. But just, how can somebody get a hold of the chamber?
If they're interested and
talk about that.
Need help.
Well, the first thing, we need help. And first thing is, visit our website and just Google Hispanic Chamber Kansas City. Okay. But it's www.hccgkc.com. Our phone number is 816-472-6767. Okay. That's, if you're on LinkedIn with me, I'm probably more responsive on LinkedIn than emails. Okay. I just get it's really hard for me to even keep up on the emails.
I can only imagine. You probably got like 3 or 5 of them, right?
I don't want to tell you how many are in my inbox right now. But
no, I'm talking about emails, different emails.
There's and half of them are sales that get around spam. Yeah. I mean, it's trying to sell me services.
Man, Janet Jackson could be emailing you, Carlos. You aren't responding.
You know what? I wish.
I know, right? I know.
Come on, man.
I wish. I don't know. But hopefully, maybe she'll see this.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, maybe she could come to Kansas City, right? Like another famous person.
Hey, man, we'll get her on this podcast, man. With
she could be Latina for a week and come and be part of that, in October. Carlos, what advice, when we were wanting to start this podcast, we talked to a few young people, like high school age or younger folks, and we said, what are you interested in hearing people talk about? And, one of the things that really stuck out to me, and I appreciate it more now than when it was actually said, is, man, we just feel like we have a lot of pressure. Like, we got to know exactly what we have to do in high school when we graduate.
And they're talking about...
Like that trail, we have to know exactly we're going to do this, we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. What advice do you have for a young person in high school?
I think the advice I would give is, first of all, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Our society puts a lot of pressure that you have to have your plan, that, you should know already what you're supposed to do.
Right. Yeah.
I think my advice to these high school students, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. You will find it.
For sure. Yeah.
Or it will find you. Yeah. But for you to find it and for it to find you, you need to get involved.
Yeah.
Volunteer. Yeah. Get out there. Volunteer for a nonprofit, any nonprofit. Get involved with your church. Get involved. Just get involved. And I guarantee you, if you get involved, that opportunity that's meant for you will show itself.
Yeah, it'll find itself to you.
Yeah, I just think so much. I talk to many people, not only young people, but I get people who get displaced in corporate America, and they go, Carlos, what am I going to do? Yeah. I've been working for this company for 20 years, 15 years, and they panic. Yeah. Just relax.
Right.
I believe our pathways are determined if we listen. Well, we all have a purpose, right? And it's okay if you're in an area that you don't know. That's part of it. I mean, that's life.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's also the journey, embrace the journey.
Yes. Yeah. And you're going to learn from it.
Right.
You're going to learn from it, and it's make you stronger. Right. And so I would just say, you know what, if you know what you're doing, great. Right. Stay focused on that. But make sure, find a mentor. A lot of these young people don't have mentors, especially the Latino kids. They don't even know what a mentor is.
Yeah. or how to go about asking or
Getting one.
searching.
Yes.
Know.
Get a mentor. Ask. If you don't have a mentor, start asking people around you. Your teachers, your priest. Call the chamber. We'll help you find a mentor.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, we have a foundation that works with youth, the Latinos of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll connect any high school, college student with Latinos of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they'll help them find a mentor.
Is there a website for that as well?
They do. Yeah, and it's called the Greater Kansas City Hispanic Collaborative. But if you just Google Hispanic Collaborative KC, it'll pop up.
Okay.
So we have the Latinos of Tomorrow for high school, college students.
Okay.
Then we have the Young Latino Professionals for people who already started their careers in the workforce, 20 and 30-year-olds. And they focus on professional development and networking and philanthropy.
Wow.
So that's the advice is I think there's a lot of good kids out there and they feel that, I need to be doing something better or this job isn't good enough. I don't care there's no bad job.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the opportunities with that company?
Yeah. And it's all a stepping stone. It's a learning process for everything,
It makes me think of my son, my oldest son, Nicholas. He had a job in high school working for a pizza place. I won't mention them because a lot of people like them actually. And the owners treated him horribly.
Oh no.
The managers there, the people there, they treated him horribly. And he would come home regularly
upset.
Just like upset and down. And man, they're saying this to me, they're saying that to me, they're making fun of me. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And when he would say these things, I would turn to him and I would say, you know what, do you like that job? And he goes, no, I hate this job. And I say, good, because you know what, now you know what you don't want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I've worked
we
in
all
places.
have.
Yeah, we all have.
Everyone has.
Yeah.
You've been there and you're like, man, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, so I better start learning to do something else, right?
Figure something else out.
Yeah, and you also learn what not to do.
Right.
I'm not going to treat people that way.
Yeah.
That's not how you get people to be productive.
Yeah.
And I think we've all had bad managers, bad boss, bad owners at some point that we worked for.
For sure.
And you learn, gosh, you know what? No, I'm gonna absorb it.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna roll down any further.
Staying in there,
I'm gonna fight for what. And then the other thing is maybe that's not the company for you. That's fine too. But that's fine. There are good companies out there.
Absolutely, man.
But it's everything's a learning opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Carlos, man, this has been awesome. This has been great. Getting to know you, getting to know the chamber, the work you do. I can't say anything but thank you. Thank you for the time with us today.
Thank you for taking the time, man. Taking time. But
I know your time is limited.
You're busy man.
But thank you, man, for the work that you do.
Yes.
The work you do personally. You've made being on that list. But even outside of that list, I've seen you over the years. I've known you. Just thank you, man, because I love this city. You love this city. I know D-Rod loves this city, and we just want to see the city prosper. So appreciate all the work you do. Thank you for joining us, man.
No, you know what? It's mutual. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to talk about the chamber, and it'll allow us to help more of the community. And so we appreciate what you're doing, and I'm excited for you guys. This is a business. I don't know if you see this. I don't know. We didn't go down that road.
But I don't know. We might be.
Hey, Carlos, let me get your number, man.
But hey, I don't know your sponsorships, but this is a business, and it's positive, it's creative, and more importantly, it's helping community. And again, when you give, you receive.
And you know what? Most importantly, it's Enterrupt KC, baby. People, places, and things. Kansas
City, man.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. JL,
D-Rod. Like and subscribe.
That's right. Like and subscribe, baby. Peace.
Bye.